Hey everybody, this is Joseph Peisich and welcome to the Fired Up Network. Welcome to World Cup Update Day 9 in Qatar with Carmine Isacco, the coach. All right, let's get to it. Giancarlo will join us in a couple seconds here. But first, you're the only one at 5 o'clock in the morning to watch this. What a matchup. All right, what a matchup. Cameroon, Serbia, 3-1 with 15 minutes left. And then they tie it up 3-3, 6 goals. And what a great, I watched the game also, right? But what a great way to start off the day there. Go ahead, Carm.
Yeah, the game. Serbia looked like they were in control of the match. Gave up a goal against the run of play. By halftime, it was 2-1 Serbia, deservedly so. We saw some good football in the final third. Good combination, great finishing. Mitrovic and Kostic was fantastic for Serbia as far as delivery with his left foot. Got on the ball a lot. And who knows what his future holds with the big mess that's happening at Juventus right now with their board of directors
Yeah.
all resigning, Agnelli resigning. So that's another story. But yeah, Cameroon found a way to come back. Found some great goals on restarts, and it was unfortunate for the Serbs because they probably found enough to win it in the end, but couldn't find that finishing touch. So 3-3, fantastic game. Kind of a preview of what was going to happen most in the next game as well.
And the next game, 8 o'clock, another. I mean, Korea coming down 2-0 to Ghana, coming back, and then Ghana resilient, winning it 3-2. Another match that it looked like your typical people who say about soccer, oh, what soccer, 0-0, 1-1, there's no goals or whatever. One game had six, one game had five, and they were nail biters from start to finish. Go ahead, Carm.
Yeah, and Ghana going through whatever they had to go through with their goalkeeping situation and all that, everything that happened. I think that he was. It was they were good. They were good. They found a way to IU and company. The IU brothers and company were very good and found a way to win that game, which puts them in a very good position. Moving forward. So lots to be decided still in that group, but I thought that it was a fantastic game. We saw the great target for South Korea put on a clinic on how to head a ball and how to make runs in the box in both his goals. But yeah, it was a great effort by the Koreans, and they probably deserved better, at least a tie. But it holds form in those two games that a two-goal lead is probably the most dangerous score in soccer.
All right, so Giancarlo, we've touched on the first two games. Giancarlo Aulino now joins us. Do you want to touch on match one? Because I know you were up at 5 o'clock doing your hair, but go ahead. Match one or match two, 5 and 8 o'clock. Do you want to mention any of those games?
Yeah, I saw that chip. That one of the best goals I think in this tournament. I was not expecting that when I saw that. Just how composed he was and under the pressure like that. That's going to go down as one of the goals of the tournament when it's all done. But that Ghana Korea game, amazing at the end. We got 10 minutes of extra time. Goes past the 10 minutes. They didn't get that corner. The coach goes nuts. Goes up to the referee, says his piece. Colorful language there. Gets a red card. So that was eventful. And now Ghana and Uruguay. It's going to be interesting because 2010. This is payback from Luis Suarez. That hand. He gets a red card, but they lose a penalty. So I think it's a fitting final matchup in the group. And the soccer gods are on Ghana's side. I think they're going to send Uruguay and Luis Suarez home
Yeah,
in his last World Cup. So there's my prediction right there.
All right. First of all, Carm, I'm going to ask you. He mentioned, I was going to mention this also, but he mentioned the referee gives 10, 11 minutes of extra time. Yes, he goes over, but you're supposed to get a corner kick, and he calls off the match. So you, as the coach, has that ever happened to you? And how mad are you? 10 extra minutes, he can't give 20 more seconds?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's what if he did give the extra 20 seconds, and they did score a goal? So there has to be a line drawn, and within the rules of the game, he did what he was allowed to do. Was it the right thing to do? Maybe not. I think that giving that last corner would have made a lot more sense. But 50% are happy, 50% are not. But yeah, I would agree with the frustration of Bento, because a corner kick and finishing on that type of tactical disadvantage for the Koreans was probably ill advised.
All right, so I'm gonna ask you, and then I'll get to Giancarlo, and then before we touch on the third and fourth match of the day. Now, Cameroon, Serbia. Which team played better in your eyes, Carm? Because it ended up in a tie, and it
Oh,
was Serbia.
I thought I thought the Serbians didn't manage the game properly. I thought they were the better team. But even Babukar's little chip there, he probably did that thinking he was offside because he was he's so open. But it was an incredible chip, incredible finish. But I mean, for the Serbs to play that type of high line in a 3-1 situation, and they obviously flirted with danger, and not only flirted, it became very dangerous on both goals. So yeah, it didn't make sense on their game management, and just the relationship between the pressure on the ball and the movement of their back three was kind of it didn't make sense. But as far as the football was concerned, and then we talked about that for the Serbs, we talked about their middle third and their attacking third being very dynamic, with players of pedigree, and they're going to get forward and score goals, which they did, but they also gave up 3 goals because of the lack of experience, as far as I'm concerned, in their back three or their group defending, which was poor.
And we mentioned about Korea and Ghana. Do you feel if there was 2-3 minutes more, Korea would have tied it? Go ahead, Carm. You first.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I think that they were dangerous. I think it was dangerous. I think that goal was kind of again, it was just moments. The World Cup is so much about moments and defending the box, and regardless if they did score that third goal, Korea had to be better in those moments in the box, in their box defending. But and both teams found. I mean, I thought that the 9 for South Korea was fantastic in his finishing, fantastic in his runs. Um, but I thought the defending was poor for South Korea.
All right, let's get to the third match of the day. I'll start off with Giancarlo here. Brazil won, Switzerland nil. What did you think?
Yeah, I think it was an expected result. Like Switzerland just going to make things difficult, and Brazil ends up finding a way. I think once they finally opened the back line there, they find something that they can make happen. But I didn't think this was going to be like a high scoring type of game. What we saw Cameroon and Serbia, so I was expecting Brazil to win. They had their troubling moments, but they got the job done.
All right, Carm.
Yeah, I mean, Switzerland was par for the course as far as their performance in the first game, and their 1-0 win. But again, Zaka and didn't really. He's not one to pull strings, and they're expecting a lot from him. Even with Arsenal, the expectations are for him to be a ball winner and not necessarily give that finalizing ball. And a lot of their players are exactly what they are. They're role players, whether they're playing in Serie A or Premier the Premier League. But I think that that special moment, Casemiro's goal was fantastic. A little bit of a deflection from Akanji, who was fantastic again. Who's proving whatever the scouting, who does the scouting for Manchester City, they're spot on, because Akanji is going to be a superstar in the world very soon if he isn't already. But yeah, they found that moment of brilliance, but it came from Casemiro. So many big time players on the field for Brazil that can create so much individually that it came down to, you know, a predominantly defensive midfielder who's probably been their best player in the last two games. And what an incredible finish.
All right, in the last match of the day, everybody, including Giancarlo, is watching number 7 in red and green because hopefully it'll be in red for Toronto Reds. Yeah, Giancarlo, right. All right, it is Portugal 2, Uruguay nil. And what did you think of the other superstar? Start off with Carmen on this one. The other superstar, not named Cristiano Ronaldo, named Fernandez. He wanted the hat trick so bad he hit the post. He was banging his hand on the turf there and all that. Go ahead, Carm.
Well, I mean, moments in the game again. You know, if Bentancur finishes that opportunity at 0-0, keeper made a great save, but that's probably game done. They know to shut down that game. And then Suarez missing some of the after he came on, missing some of the opportunities he did at 1-0. But yeah, I mean, Bruno Fernandes was all over the field. His by far the best performance on the field so far for him. You know, and the action and the movement of a Ronaldo had a lot to do with the goal. He didn't score, but for sure it was his movement that created the goal and his timing of the run. And then Bruno Fernandes, yeah, put on a show for sure. The penalty, that's going to be debatable for me for a long time. I mean, they talk about the natural position if you're falling, but they also talk about the situation where, you know, Bruno Fernandes might have had a 1v1 with the keeper if that action went through. So there's so much debatability and there's so much inconsistency with all those calls and everything. But you know, it
Would
happened
you
the
have
way it
given
is.
a penalty for people? Just let me explain it for people who haven't seen it or whatever. He was falling back, and the defender touched the ball, and they called it a penalty kick. All right, what is he supposed to do? He's falling down. The ball's there. You know, again with use common sense. What's he gonna do? Did he want to touch the ball? Would you call if you're the referee, Carm? Would you have called a penalty shot? I know by the rules and all that, but come on, put the referee, put the game sensible. Would you have called a penalty shot?
I agree with everything you just said. So I agree with everything you just said, and the commonsensical approach has kind of gone because they're trying to you know, make every call black and white, which is impossible. Is impossible. So you know, moving forward, I think that when they do their FIFA meetings and their FIFA licensing again for the referees, they're just going to have to be more, I don't know, accurate, but it's so inconsistent on what is and what isn't these days. And they'll tell you it isn't. They'll tell you there's the wrong answer for everything, but no chance. No chance.
That's a perfect segue because we got the guy who gets referee license from grade 2 to grade 5. Giancarlo every year has to get his referee license, right, Giancarlo?
Yeah, haven't done that in a while. So
All right, because of COVID, but don't break my momentum. All right, you're the referee. What do they tell you? Do they tell you black and white, or do they tell you use common sense?
I think they just tell you like what do you believe to be the call. Like just trust your instincts. If you believe that's what you saw and your view was that a handball, that's exactly what it is. For all we know, the referee saw a player on the ground. In his mind, he's probably thinking all these players are supposed to be on their feet. So why he's on the ground in the first place? His hand's not supposed to be near the ball. That's what he's thinking. And they have VAR too to tell him in his ear whether there was a a skeptical call right there. But I think the referee made a decision based on his gut instinct, and that's the time of the game, group stage. I think if it was a final, maybe he doesn't call that, but I think he just called it
Like
for what it
Carmen
was.
said, don't you want consistency? Doesn't matter if it's group final or first match of the first round. Give me consistency. And you're as you being a referee, you get the license and all that. Would you have called in a penalty?
I probably would, to be honest.
I
If
mean,
he's a slide tackle and his hands
he
are out,
fell
they're not at
back.
his
What's
waist.
he gonna do? He fell back. The ball's in the way. To not fall down or hold yourself. The ball's in the way. If the ball wasn't there, what? He would hold the ground. Is that a penalty? Holding the ground? Come on, it shouldn't have been. Use your common sense. This is the World Cup. Lives depend on this. Come on. Enough said with that. Carm, anything else you want to add to that?
No, I mean, I thought there was a rule saying that if the trailing hand or the hand that helps support you from falling contacts the ball, it wasn't a penalty. Obviously, I'm wrong, but it's. I mean, people try to make everything an objective action, but let's be honest. Like Giancarlo said, it's a subjective situation, and you've seen so many times that call or calls of that similar to that do not get called, rightfully so. But I would have. I mean, in the rules of the game, he was absolutely right. In the rules of the game beyond the game, I didn't think it was the right call.
In other words, Giancarlo doesn't get his referee license for next year. All right, so let's get to tomorrow's action. Carm, I told you, no more 5 a.m. games. Carm, you could do your hair, you could shave, everything like that. Two 10 a.m. matchups and two 2 p.m. matchups. 10 a.m. Let's get to it. Ecuador, Senegal. Start off with Giancarlo.
Yeah, like Senegal's chances. I think this is going to be a back and forth game, high scoring. I see it similar to being Cameroon, Serbia, except I think they're going to be scoring from the start. It won't be a come from behind, 2 goals to get it done. So they're going to exchange goals, I think, and it's going to be probably a 2-2 draw. Is my guess for it.
All right, Carm.
My guess is the opposite. I think Ecuador has been one of the best teams there as far as defending as well. I think they'll find a way to find that next goal. And Senegal's been struggling in the attack. Yes, they found goals, but it was almost situations that fell to them where there was a ball given away. And I don't think Ecuador is going to give up those opportunities because they've been too composed, too pragmatic. And, obviously the status of Valencia is going to be in question. But so that might make a massive difference because I think he has every goal for Ecuador right now. But I do like Ecuador to win the game 1-0 or tie the game 0-0.
Do I even start? Carm, do you understand what I'm
Nail.
saying? Yes, you understand.
Nail.
All right. So let's get Giancarlo. You'll start us. The next 10 o'clock, Netherlands, Qatar. Do we have another upset in the making, even though Qatar is going home? But go ahead.
No, we're not. This is going to be, I think, an easy win for Netherlands. If it's not, then I don't know. Maybe they peak even before the group stage is over. But they're used to doing this, showing out in the group stage, and knockout rounds is a different story. So I think we'll probably see their best performance of the tournament against Qatar.
Carm?
Yeah, agreed. And hopefully it's a chance for Memphis Depay to get his rhythm back because they haven't been extravagant going forward. That's for sure. So I think and Memphis Depay is important group, I believe. So I think that it'll be a straightforward win, 1 or 2-0 for the Dutch.
Carm.
1 or 2-0 for the Dutch.
All right, let's start off. Carm, I'm going to say every time you get it wrong, you owe me Nino Daversa. All right, Daversa for John Nelson. All right, Wales, England. Let's start off that 2 p.m. Go ahead, Carm.
Oh, fantastic. I'm looking for that energy. I'm looking for that. You know what? Wales hasn't had their incredible moment just yet. They haven't had a little bit in the second half against the U.S. where they played better than the U.S. in the second half and found that goal. But off a PK, which I don't know. I feel Wales for some reason. I think it'll be a 1-1 type situation. Obviously not enough for Wales after their incredible loss to Iran, but I feel a 1-1 or even a 1-0 for some reason. But if England finds that second gear, if they find that 1-0 or 2-0, 1-1 or 1-0 Wales.
Nino Daversas, man, I'm gonna eat like, oh my gosh, it was 1969 when Carmen was born. Come on, 3 Nino Daversas. All right, Giancarlo,
So
go ahead.
I
Remember,
think that if the English had that second gear, it could be, they haven't had that good performance just yet, and and we haven't seen Phil Foden at all, and we've seen Grealish, but maybe it's time that Foden comes in, or maybe it's time that he kind of, but they need a performance for sure. They need a good performance because the U.S. was not a good performance, and Iran was good in the attack, but it showed some frailties for sure.
We'll touch on that game next, but Giancarlo, Wales, England.
Yeah, both their supporters got this started in the streets over there, so they're going to carry it onto the field. It's going to be back and forth, I think, more to England's liking, what they had hoped, because their first game now, that win against Iran, is looking really good to them. If that didn't happen, there's more urgency on them to score goals. So I think Wales has all the pressure on them to come in and prove that they can hang with England and beat them at the World Cup. And I think Gareth Bale will have a nice performance, but I'm going to go off the board here, and England's going to win this game. It's going to be 1-0, and Maguire is going to get the goal off a corner kick.
Oh my gosh, this guy! Like, all right, then we're expecting. I don't know, the same thing with Canada, Croatia, but Iran, U.S. Iran's already telling the U.S. should be banned because they're protecting ladies and all this. Carm, go ahead. I've never seen this. Could be war on a soccer field. Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, again, the tragedy that's happening in Iran right now. I don't know. I don't think that animosity exists in the players. I think that they have a chance to go through. It'll be a tough game, but it would be a shame for me that the Americans probably deserve better against the English to go out. I think that they have enough to win this game. It's just going to be moments in transition where they have to be better than Iran, and they have got to be better in the box. Pulisic has to have a way out, have to score goals. They have to find the back of the net, and it's just not the performance in between. 18 to 18 is important, but the most important thing is going to be how they finish in the box. And we talked about their lack of number nine, their lack of goal scoring, and the one goal in two games with what they have as far as creating and their abilities to do that, I think is not enough. And if this could be it's hard to predict. Is the U.S. the better team? Absolutely. Could this be a 0-0, 1-0 game for Iran? Absolutely. But if the U.S. and Pulisic and Weah and Wright are at their best, I think that they win this game 2-0.
Oh my god.
2-0, 2-0.
I'm gonna have to go on that blackboard there and write nil 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 nil, and then call me after you do it like 10,000 times. Go ahead, Giancarlo.
I don't know why I have a feeling that Iran's going to get the job done. Just the way they played against Wales, like I wouldn't be surprised. Like the United States, I think is going to dominate possession. They're going to get all the shots. None of them are going to find the back of the net, I think. But I think Iran, they're just going to get their opportunity and they're just going to finish it. So I got the U.S. getting shots on target, not finding the net, and Iran finishing whatever chance they get, whether it's two chances, three chances in the game. I think that they pull off an upset in advance.
So, in another news, it looks like Messi is about to sign, or he has signed with Inter Miami. Did you hear how much he signed for? Carm?
I heard that was false news. I heard that was false news. I heard Busquets signed with Inter Miami, which kind of head scratcher for me. But if Messi is signed, that's fantastic. Yeah. But I heard the opposite. I heard that he wasn't going to
See, he
sign. It
just
was
stole
false
my
news.
thunder because Giancarlo did not hear this. Giancarlo, you said to me, I believe Messi has signed a $30 million deal. I said no. It's Busquets. It's Spanish. Trust my Spanish connections. Trust my Nino Diversa friend. What do you have to say about this, Giancarlo?
I didn't even know about the Busquets thing.
See, this is
I just
why.
know Messi is probably they're just drumming up further publicity, and after the World Cup, you'll probably decide that kind of move. But I doubt it's going to be announced now.
All right, and before you came on, Giancarlo, I gotta get this. You know where I'm going with this, Carm. Giancarlo's probably one of the biggest fans of Juventus. There's crap going in under Juventus there. Look at Carmen shaking his head. All right, Giancarlo, do you want to touch on your team, Juventus?
Yeah, from the last thing I saw was like their board of directors all resigned, including Nedved, who's a Juve legend. So Nedved's he's done some stuff off the field. I think he'll be fine, living his best life. But in terms of everybody else, I don't know who's going to step in. Maybe they're going to make a call to Del Piero and ask him if he wants a headache of being like a part of that management. I highly doubt he will leave Los Angeles and that nice lifestyle he has there to go to that. But whoever they find, God bless.
All right. Anything you want to touch on, Carm, about it?
Well, a longtime, family president Agnelli has also resigned. So I don't know where that's going to lead, but it's. I guess they've been under investigation for a while, and some shady business in on the financial side probably. And I don't know what they're going to do with Allegri and all the money that he's owed right now. So yeah, this is going to be a situation, but it's a sad moment, sad moment for such a storied club.
Giancarlo, Marty Roberts chimes in and he wants to know: are they blaming the goalie on this?
No, the goalie's not there anymore. He's somewhere else.
That's John Car. In case you don't know, fans who are just tuning in, John Carlo's favorite player of all time. No, it's not Carmine Isacco. It's Buffon, the goalie. All right, I'm gonna looking forward to Wednesday's matchups, and I gotta get your take on it. We're gonna do an in-depth preview tomorrow about it. But Carm, Poland and Argentina. That's the loser of that match will probably go home.
Yeah, if there is a loser in that match, yeah, it's going to be interesting. Um, very interesting to see how that plays out. I don't like the Polish haven't been convincing, but in their non-convincingness, they should have been already through. They should have been 1-0 against Mexico on the PK, and obviously they won their game, their next game. So I think against Saudi Arabia. So I think that this is going to be a big game. I feel like Poland's going to play for a restart or play for a counterattack, um, but it's going to be the magic of Messi that might make the difference and how they deal with Messi. Because right now they are lacking that number nine. For me, Diaz hasn't been. He's a good soccer player. He's a good footballer, but is he what they need right now as far as that point of reference? I don't know. I don't think so. Have they been free flowing like the Spanish played without their nine, or Morata coming in made the difference, mind you, as a nine. But yeah, I think that they haven't been free flowing. They've been very individual in the final third. They've been very relying on the magic, some magical moment from the Fernandez moment or the Messi moment, or Di Maria trying to find something out of nothing. But and then I worry about how they're going to deal with the Polish transition. So I mean, can I see a 0-0 game there? Absolutely. I think Szczesny's going to play a big part of it because he's going to have to make some big saves and big interventions at important moments. But I also see that they're going to have trouble dealing with the restarts, dealing with the Polish restarts, and dealing with Lewandowski and company getting forward. But how Poland is in the final third of the field and how often they get there is going to be key as well. And how often Lewandowski gets the ball in the box is going to be key as well.
Giancarlo, any thoughts on that one before I get another key matchup on Wednesday, Saudi Arabia and Mexico? But any key thoughts on Poland and Argentina?
Yeah, like Argentina, just all the weapons they have in their attack. Like we still haven't seen Paulo Dybala really, and that's a guy you can bring off the bench and change things up. So like Argentina's attack, they have so many different options that it makes them a threat regardless of what lineup they go with. They can change their formation and have guys play out wide or go with a more attacking midfield centric kind of tactic there where you have one striker. So they can do a lot of different things to Poland. I just think Poland, you know what you have with Lewandowski. I think he could show up here and have a big game and help Poland advance. So I'm actually going to go with Poland winning. And off the bench, Swiderski, my boy, is going to come in there, put one in the net. He's going to be having a big moment for Poland.
Carmen, he said it's his boy. Since when is it his boy? All right, what is this going on? Next thing gonna tell me he's gonna play for Italy, Juventus. There, come on. All right,
Oh,
and
he did sway that Traversky was a Schwalling.
all right, one more. I want to touch on Thursday, of course, Canada. Guaranteed victory from the president of provinces of Canada. All right, but a match that everybody should be watching: Croatia and Belgium. Giancarlo start us off. That match, Belgium hasn't looked. They looked the first game they beat Canada. They were lucky. They didn't look like their normal selves. Croatia, I don't have to tell you. Go ahead.
Yeah, Belgium's tournament's been a disaster, regardless of the 3 points they have. Or I don't know what they came into this, like their mentality. Like this is a group that's been together for a long time, and they just haven't really lived up to expectations of being a number 2 ranked team. So that just tells you the FIFA rankings mean absolutely nothing because they haven't showed that they're that good of a team. And I think watching all these games, even though Canada lost the way they did against Croatia, I think Belgium's looked the worst of this whole group right now. And I wouldn't be surprised if Croatia just dominates them and sends them like home. I don't even see this going and being really competitive. Lukaku has to show up, and De Bruyne can only do so much there. But I see Croatia winning this pretty convincingly.
Okay, Carm.
Well, I think player selection for me has been an issue as well. I mean, I know you say what you want to say about Eden Hazard, and a lot of people said he had a really good performance against Canada. I didn't think so. I don't know how many actions he's created for shots or for attempts at goal. I think that Trossard, who's been amazing in the Premiership, needs more time. I think he's a difference maker in this game if they find him. But if Croatia plays the way they did against Canada, and then the ball movement and the ball circulation, which, to be honest, will be a little more comfortable for Belgium. These teams that they've played right now athletically have been better than them. They haven't matched up athletically, and that's been really, really tough for them. And if Courtois plays the way he did against Morocco, then there's a problem there. So he needs to be at his best like he was against Canada. He's a massive factor, and the pace and the tempo is something they need to dictate. And I think that if Lukaku's presence will make a difference, but I think Trossard coming in for Hazard, who's yes, he's part of the Belgium history of soccer, but I think Trossard has been in better form, and he needs to play longer, and I think he can make a difference. But I do see this game being a lot more comfortable for Belgium because they're going to be used to the tactics. They're going to be used to the players. They're going to be used to the style of play, which they definitely were not against Canada or Morocco. So we'll see. I think that it's an important game. A tie is enough for Croatia, I believe. So we might even see that tie. And, and Morocco's going to have to get something out of the game against Canada.
All right, Carmen, your final thought here. Your good friend, Marty Roberts, I don't know how long you've known him. He wants to know that yesterday he was watching the show. Yesterday you mentioned a new team in the CPL. Can you elaborate? It says, my good friend, Carmine Isacco. All right, so
No,
elaborate.
I said not a new. Actually, Edmonton has left, and Vancouver, or they're going to be playing out of Burnaby or Langley. I'm sorry, Langley, BC.
Yeah.
They've come in and they've already hired They're an Iranian coach with a good pedigree, but I'm saying that there might be a new coach and a new face in the CPL mix very soon, announced probably by Thursday, who the new coach of the Halifax Wanderers are, which is going to be someone who knows, someone we know well.
Someone we know well.
Well,
Giancarlo, can you take a stab at this?
I rather not. I just know Stephen Hart, like he did a good job for what he was there, helping get that whole fan base energized for a professional team coming in there. So he deserves a lot of credit for what he built there.
By the way, Carm, how are houses in Halifax? Never mind. All right, Giancarlo, go. Giancarlo, go ahead. Tell everybody how they can. What?
Ever since associated with Joe, it's been I haven't got a job offer yet.
You don't need a job offer. Listen. I'm going to steal a line from The Rock. Okay, I'm going to see you're seen now more by millions and millions of people, maybe 3, Marty Roberts included. Go ahead, Giancarlo. Tell everybody how
That's
they can
Carmen's.
get hold of
Oh,
me.
okay. Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter, John_411, Instagram, Giancarlo_Aulino. Check out my articles on firedupnetwork.ca and sportskeeda.com. And if you're in Toronto, check me out on Vibe 105.
Because now it's time for 2 minutes. We're going to talk to the hockey expert and the basketball expert, Carmine Isacco, since he wants a job in soccer, basketball, hockey, wrestling, mud wrestling, lacrosse, everything. All right, the Leafs are in Detroit, Little Caesars Arena. Do you like Little Caesars pizza, Carmen?
Pizza.
So you don't like Little Caesars, all right? So you don't like. So you're calling a Maple Leaf win because of Little Caesars, right? You don't like
I
Little
said that
Caesars.
triple wrapped
Little
bacon
Caesars
pizza.
Arena. You don't like Little Caesars, so you're calling a Maple Leaf win, correct? All right. So there.
Been doing well with the blue line, so something's going right.
All right. Since you don't bank at Scotiabank, all right, you're calling the Raptors to beat Cleveland, or are you calling Cleveland to beat the Raptors?
Oh, at home. They just won. They beat Dallas, but I don't know who they're getting back or who's Scotty Barnes back.
I know Pascal
Van Vliet.
Siakam is questionable. Right now, he may play.
Okay, so but I thought his timeline was to be back by Sunday. So I think we'll see Siakam. Cleveland's an excellent basketball team. Excellent basketball team. I think that it's going to be a tough one, just like it was the opening day. But Toronto found a way to win, and their length makes a big difference, and Scotty Barnes makes a big difference in guarding their best player. So that'll be big for them, and we'll see. We'll see. I think that Toronto does have what it takes to beat them, but they haven't won. The second game a day later, or a second game. They've been one on and one off. That's why they're 10-9. Yes. So I think that they need Van Vliet to get some consistency if he's playing. They need Scotty Barnes back in the lineup and Pascal back in the lineup, and OG to continue doing what OG has been doing. And the supporting cast has been fantastic as well. And, that's Boucher, hats off to Canadians, Boucher, and even Birch. And they've been rebounding and doing what they need to do.
I got more right now from Carmine Isacco in basketball than I get that freak Drew Ebanks on onpointbasketball.com. Do you agree, Giancarlo?
Yeah, that was an expert analysis there. Put all those guys on the panel to shame, Carmen.
All right.
Well, they're going to have a tough time dealing with the pick and rolls and the corner threes by Love tonight. That's for sure.
So let me ask you a question. You complained since you're doing shows with Giancarlo, you didn't get a job. Let's try to get you an NBA, CBL, whatever, in basketball, in hockey. And by the way, look at that. Look, better free throw shooter than Shaquille O'Neal. Count on it. Don't you think, Carm? Don't you think you could have got better than 50% on free throws?
If I was Shaquille O'Neal, I would take 50%. I'd take 40% on free throws.
And all right, final thought, Marty Roberts. What do you think of the man in wrestling, Carmen? The man is actually a lady. It's Becky Lynch. No comment.
Becky?
Becky Lynch.
Oh, is that Rebecca? Is that
Yes, that's Rebecca. That's right. That's Rebecca. And whenever he gets that itch, that means it's time to go. All right. So for Giancarlo, for Carmine Isacco, you don't want to reach him on social media unless it's a job offer. Unless it's a job offer, it goes through the president of the provinces of Canada because this guy makes millions and millions of dollars. At least offer him a good $20,000 and some Tim Hortons coffee. All right. So we'll be back here tomorrow for World Cup update. Thanks to Giancarlo and Carmine Isacco. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks.